Hey everyone. Before we get started, we're going to start in about 45 seconds here. I know I've said this a few times, but for the people that kind of came in a little bit late right now, I just want to make sure you know you can send in your comments at any time, feedback. We're going to be talking about applications today as well. So I have several applications we'll go through, but if there are some unique areas where you've used a grazer in the past, it doesn't even have to be the GRAZE X. We'd love to know that so that other people can spark some curiosity on where they use this type of product. And then the last thing before we get started is my screen. We're going to be switching around from a few different video angles as well as slides. So make sure at the top right you pin that screen. I should be on it right now. It's 3 dots and say pin so that this way it stays the main screen the entire time. And I think we're ready to go, right? Awesome. All right. So I'm the senior training manager at Elemental LED, which also Lucetta and Diode LED fall under that umbrella. Today we're going to be talking about a product that kind of falls between Lucetta as well as Diode LED. It's our new GRAZE X. I say new, it's been around for maybe about a year, a little bit over a year. This is a deep dive into this product. We're going to touch on things that maybe we don't usually have the time to get into on a presentation. So I'll get started. I want to show you, but first of all, thanks for coming too. I really appreciate your attendance. This is the GRAZE X. We'll be talking about this all day. You can see it's a micro precision engineered grazer. Let's get into it. We'll get into the actual overall specs and then go from there. Awesome. Again, this is reel to reel. We'll be doing this throughout the rest of the year for Lucetta, and then all next year for 2024, we'll be having once a month single products that we'll do a deep dive into. Before we actually get into some of the details of GRAZE X, I do want to do some of the actual specs on it, the golden nuggets. So our grazer, right, it comes in a 10 degree, 30, and 60 degree. If you were used to it in the beginning, it was just a 10 degree. We wanted to open up those options. So depending on the wall and how thick the wall is, how much depth, how tall the wall is, we wanted to give you other options. So now it's available in a 10 degree, 30, and a 60 degree. It's small, bright, and cost effective. That's probably the main thing I want to focus on today. Is this is far more cost effective than most grazers out there. What's unique about it is that it has tape light as its base source. So this is a very unique grazer to most of the grazers in the industry, which have maybe optics and actual LED modules. With tape light being the base, now you can have any size between 6 inches to 8 feet within 1/16 of an inch. So gone are the days when you have a wall and you have a specific dimension on that wall, but the problem is the grazer is bulky. You only can get it in 18 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches. With our grazer, you can get it in any size that you want within that 8 feet, 6 inches up to 8 feet within the 1/16 inch. You can also daisy chain this as well for longer runs. This is a brand new technology built by us. It has a couple patents in it, a dual lens system as well as the optic. The dual lens system is unique. The first lens will actually have it become a wider beam spread, and then the actual optic, that top lens, is going to bring it back into a smaller degree and smaller beam spread. And I'll show you why that's important later when we demo it. Really, it's an amazing optic that is able to wrap that light around objects. Various CCTs, outputs, and a 12-year warranty. The reason why we're able to give you all these CCTs is because it has our ValentX tape light as the base. So anything that you can get in our ValentX tape light, you can get within our GRAZE X, right? So multiple CCTs, 100 to 800 lumens, and anywhere in between pretty much, and then a 12-year warranty. It does have an RGBW option available, but just note this is more for smaller and not as tall walls because it only has a 300 lumen output. Great opportunity to get on jobs. The point here, right, is this is if you're a distributor, if you're a rep out there, a lot of times, specifiers will have these beautiful grazers on a project, but they're usually extremely expensive, anywhere from $150 a foot to as high as like $250 a foot. So most of the time, people end up just crossing that off and using a track light instead of a grazer. With ours, this is a great cross option for those projects. I wanted to note on ValentX here, this is the tape light at our base. As you can see, right, the multiple CCTs, multiple lumen per foot options, but also that it's a precision engineered, tight pitch, high density tape light. The reason why this is important is the diodes are so close together that it's going to give you this nice even illumination across the grazer without any types of hot spots. 95 plus CRI with an extremely high R value, specifically R9. So this is great for artwork, for anywhere where there's going to be deep reds. We take our R values very seriously. Not all CRI is the same, right? We want to make sure that we have the highest R values across the entire TM30 scale. So just note that even our R12 values, which is our deep blue, is extremely high as well. Where are the opportunities, right? Pretty much wherever a grazer is needed, obviously. But there's a lot of crossover options for this fixture as well. Whenever there's a grazer that's more expensive, right? We already talked about that a little bit, but also when it's larger and bulkier, most grazers out there are extremely hard to install. They're so big that you have to either recess it into the floor or recess it into the ceiling. With our grazer, because of how discreet it is, obviously you can recess it. We've done options like that, but due to it being so indiscreet and small, you can really put this up on the ceiling or down on the ground, and it's going to be it's going to really just hide into that architecture. And then obviously that we make this here in the US. We built this from the ground up. We engineered this from the ground up. This is a grazer that you're not going to have to wait 4 to 6 weeks, right? We can get this out in a week and a half to 2 weeks easy, right? At all different types of dimensions, all customized for your application and project. Oh yeah, I forgot the note. Right here is just giving you a little bit of a quick look at the difference between the 10 degree, 30, and 60. I'm a big fan of the 10 degree, but obviously it's a little bit more unforgiving because of how tight that beam spread is. We're seeing a lot of 30 degree right now on most of the projects that we're working on. It's just a little bit more forgiving. You don't even have to use the articulating arm if you don't want to, right? It's just a little easier to make sure you can skim every type of wall. I wanted to show you a quick thing on the engineering lab. This is where we do all of our testing for all of our products. In the bottom middle is a goniometer, and this is where you can actually flip it around and be able to see how the actual beam spread is going to affect the space, as well as actually the true beam spread that it is. With our grazers, it is an actual true 10 degree, 30 degree, and 60 degree. The one on the far right is actually showing you the GRAZE X in a 10 degree. All the way down to 26 feet away is that wall. So you can really light up very, very tall walls with this, and very evenly down the entire wall. Also, if you notice, there's no light spillage. Very, very little light spillage on this grazer. This is very important for grazers. You don't want light spillage. You want to make sure that you contain that beam spread in the exact focus that you need, that 10 degrees. So if you notice, most grazers out there, they would have these little streaks on the left and right side of this beam spread, this light out there on the ground and wall. Drivers. I do want to mention the 2 recommended drivers that we use for this product. Very, very simple. You might be familiar with the ODX, is how we call it, or OmniDrive X. This is a true universal driver with multiple inputs, 110 up to 277 in. You can get it in a 12 volt or 24. Due to the GRAZE X being ValentX as its base, it's always going to be 24 volt. This has, triac dimming, ELV dimming, and 0 to 10 volt dimming. Also with our ValentX, you can get down to extremely low dim levels, down to 0.1% with the right dimmer. And if you need us to test that in-house, we can as well. Let's say you have an offshoot dimmer that's not on our compatibility list. You can send that in. We will do that testing for you to make sure that you can dim down whatever product you're using, specifically the GRAZE X, as low as you want. And then I wanted to show you the BLM constant voltage driver. This is the one I recommend for our RGBW product for GRAZE X. Keep this in mind when going forward. It's very easy, right? Really just 2 options for drivers. And then let's do a demo and a close-up look. I want to show you a couple things here. Oops, let me go back really quick. All right. So with our GRAZE X, we do have multiple finishes available. So you have everything from a white GRAZE X, you have an aluminum or a silver grazer. This is probably the most popular, and what I'm a fan of is actually the black. I think this can hide very well, but people do use the white quite a bit as well for white ceilings and different things like that to make sure that it hides in. So those are the 3 options: white, black, and aluminum. I'm going to show you the different beam spreads too close up, and then we'll actually we'll try it out on the actual geometric wall here. So this is our 10 degree. Let me plug this in here. So you can see a very, very tight beam spread. Right, very, very tight, narrow. You can see it right here too. And then let's try out the 30 degree. Oops, I gotta grab that 30 degree. There we go. All right, try out this 30 degree really quick. So you can see, definitely wider. Camera's making it come out a little bit oval. That is not the case. It's usually a very nice tight beam spread. Cameras can make light look a little funky. And then let's show you the 60 degree. All right, 60 degrees, you can see, you pretty much don't even see it. It's almost taking up the entire camera. And we'll test these out over there on the geometric wall. I do want to note too, we have different mounting accessories we'll talk about. The most popular one by far though is our articulating arms. I'm a huge fan of using these no matter what, because every wall is going to be a little bit different, a little bit more depth or less depth, a little different type of texture. These articulating arms are very easy to use. They just snap on, snap back in, right? And this will be able to give you a nice flexibility on how you want to adjust this light. And it's not notched, which is really nice. So you can actually adjust this to pretty much any degree you want. I think up to about 45 degrees. Also, what we recently came out with, something I wanted to talk about, is our new louvers. So as you can see here, this is just our regular standard louver. They come in 1 foot sections. And if you notice here close up, the actual edges at the very end are half the size of the actual middle part of the louver. So this way, if you actually butt the louvers up together with the 1 foot sections, let's say you have 8 feet, you do eight louvers, they're going to look completely symmetrical and uniformed across the entire grazer. This is our like angled louver. I'm a big fan of this. This really cuts off the light when you have it down and shining up on a wall. If you get very close to it, that beam spread is still going to be the same beam spread. It cuts off light very little, which is very nice about this grazer, but you can make sure that you're not going to have any type of glare when looking at the actual grazer. So, awesome. All right, we'll get back into it here. Let's talk about mounting accessories. There's a few options here, right? So the grazer has a raceway on the back that allows for various mounting accessories. As you can see on the left, it's the one I most recommend. I would really try to use this as much as possible unless you're trying to recess this into the ceiling. You also have a mounting clip. This is for very low profile mounting options. This is almost completely flush with the actual raceway, but you also do have a suspension option available that you can get. And there are some types of applications where you want the wall is maybe only 15 feet, but it's a very high ceiling. You might want to suspend that GRAZE X down and then actually graze that wall. That is possible with our mounting accessories. And then just giving you a quick little schematic or just a close-up of how our daisy chain installation works. So the cool thing about our GRAZE X is that if let's say you need 16 feet, right? You can daisy chain them together and have it completely uniformed across, but due to the special optic, you can also have 2 smaller grazers and then have them somewhat close together, and the actual beam spread will look completely even across. And I'll show you what I mean with that in just a second on our next demo here. So installation best practices. This is all this stuff is what our internal team would recommend. This product is a fixture. It is not field cuttable. It is not customizable in the field. So you do need to give us the exact dimensions up front. Everything from what CCT you want, what lumen output you want, what beam spread you want, the dimensions, how long you want it. This is definitely a not field cuttable fixture. We always recommend the aiming brackets for most applications, right? Request a sample ahead of permanent installation. This one, I can't stress enough. We are very liberal with our samples. We will get you what you need. If you have a special type of wall or somewhere that you're going to be grazing, request that sample up front. We'll give you a 24-inch grazer. This way you can go up there, test it, see where you need to actually angle it, how close you need to be at the wall to make sure the light skims all the way down. Also, another question to ask yourself, is this going to be in direct view or indirect view, right? That's going to be a completely different type of installation if it's in direct view. We have worked with people on being able to recess this. Well, we usually have the lens slightly protruding from the actual recessed area just so that it doesn't cut off the beam spread. If you have it recessed in, obviously the beam spread will slightly go down if you're using a 60 or 30 or a 10 degree, which is why I usually suggest using a 30 or a 10 specifically when you're going to actually recess this in. Also, make sure that you get the height, width, and depth of the textured wall. This will tell us a lot on what beam spread to use for you. You can always email either technical support, customer service, quotes for any of these if you're trying to figure out what type of grazer to use. We are here for you. We're the experts. This is all we do. We will give you our best recommendation at the end. And then applications. Since this is somewhat of a new product, right, we don't have the most that many application shots as of yet. We're trying to collect some, but this was a job that was I think only a few months ago with the RGBW. They actually grazed it from the bottom and the top. Thought it came out very well. They could allow the customer to either skim through different colors or be able to have it programmed where it just automatically skims through different colors. Pretty cool application. This is another one, as you can see, very popular. People are loving these geometric walls and putting them in these living spaces and really being able to kind of transform that space with grazing. Stone fireplaces, this is a very low-hanging fruit. You know, back in the day, people would take 2 Juno track lights and just flood that fireplace. The problem with it is if you have any type of textured wall, lighting is not just about overlighting, right? You want to be able to see the contrast, the shadow, right? And so with grazing, it's such a much more elegant way of lighting this space because you see all the little details of this textured wall, all the little shadows that come with it, right? Really turns out beautiful when done right. And then just a few other options that I've seen. Wall washing, right? We actually have that 60 degrees, so a lot of people will put it on the articulating arm, run a long 8-foot or 12-foot section, and then bend it back towards the wall, and they'll light up things like murals or art. We also have used this as suspended pendant for general illumination, either the 30 or the 60. I was actually involved in a job not that long ago where this guy had a bike shop and he had all these rows of bikes, and he just took our GRAZE X, he suspended it, put it a 60 degree on it, and just washed the entire shop. Good. And then grazing or wall washing ceilings. So that's another one. We'll have this where it's angled towards the actual ceiling, and we'll wash the entire ceiling, which looks very beautiful. This is definitely something that's new that we've been seeing that's very popular. So we have a 10 degree. I'm going to show it from a few different angles here. So you can see, right, when you hit it right, you can really kind of see that texture. So you can see the beam spread on the back wall right there. I can put my hand in front of it and go up and down, and it doesn't protrude the light. So I can put both of my hands in front of it, and it doesn't block the light. You can see I can move it around, still doesn't block the light. This is due to that dual lens system. Every single diode is going completely the opposite way in both directions. So no matter what, unless I'm blocking this entire grazer, the light down here that I'm not blocking is making up for the light up here that I am blocking, and it will shine straight up and be able to wrap around your hand. So imagine if there is a sprinkler system, a cross beam, some type of camera in the way. You can still graze completely through this, and it will not protrude the light whatsoever. This is why I was talking about in the beginning where you don't have to have grazers butted up together. You could actually have them far away, pretty far away, and it would be still a continuous line on the entire wall.